So, when we last met, our fellowship had recently taken a fellowship phase where there have been some improvements made to some of the characters. Jake, I never heard whether or not you figured that stuff out, but I assume so by the way you're nodding. We did do a little bit of roleplay after that, although we were down Strain last week, unfortunately. Welcome back, Strain.
Thank you.
And I believe where we left off, we were speaking with Old Man Breaker about the goings-on at the manor. And there was some discussion of research on a couple of topics. Does anybody remember, or shall I continue?
Grave diggers, find out about them, and the ring history, we're going to find out about that. That's what I wrote down anyway.
Okay, well, you know that you, Schoon, Traston, discovered there were some grave diggers, or grave robbers, actually, rumored to be operating out of the Chetwood, which is nearby, that are reportedly rumored to be in league with some of the spiders that inhabit Chetwood. Whether or not that's true, difficult to say, but that's one lead that you have. Another lead that you have is you did hear Narniel and Araniel both discovered that there's some goings on up north from the area that they hail from, around Anuminas and Lake Evendim. There's a party of rangers that were given leave to explore the lake, which is largely shrouded in mists, to possibly find and retake some old holdings of the Dunedain and the Numenorians. And so there was some discussion of that. And then, yes, there was some discussion of the missing ring of Breaker's late wife, who is now not resting peacefully because of this ring. And Breaker was going to put together or discuss some more information regarding the ring with you, although he doesn't, as you discovered last time, he doesn't know all of the provenance of the ring. But now that I've had a week to prepare, there's some more information about that ring.
Excellent. Nice.
So what do you want to do first?
Well, I don't know if Narniel and Araniel want to go to Anuminas, because otherwise we could take a slight detour to Chetwood, because it's also kind of sort of in the same direction.
No, I think we discussed it about not going in, interfering. If they needed us, they would call Anuminas. Like we said, we still had faith in those rangers that were left to be able to take. But if we did pass or go near it, we would look in.
I will remind you that you heard that the rangers that had gone into the lake have been missing for a month now.
Yeah.
Just throw that out there.
Possibly misplaced faith, yeah.
I mean, what it was, we was talking about the fact that if we were to go back, we felt like we were running back home too quickly, and so like if there was nothing else that there's nothing that anyone wanted to finish off here, and any loose ends like the ring and the grave diggers and finish it off, then if we were sort of heading toward that way, we were happy to adventure, but we're out here to adventure. So, but if we hear anything else we will definitely head that way.
Yeah, I think it was just because of there's other stuff that we've got going on, and especially with the spiders and grave robbers and such, it was just not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want to get more information from Breaker about the ring, or
Yes.
anybody else? Any other questions?
Well, we're with him, aren't we? So
yeah, you're still at Breaker's, although we left Strain actually cooking at the cottage. Although Hamson can certainly show up whenever. He knows where Breaker's is.
He's cooking.
And we all know that his favorite cottage is cheese.
Oh, we need some herbs. Is there a pantry around here?
I did discuss last week that you, Hamson, had been calling in people from Combi and Archit and some other locations to expand upon the cottage. So you may have a pantry now. I'll leave that to you to decide, because it's been about a week. You guys took about a week for the fellowship phase, so
Yeah, because we thought we have the time. There's nothing time sensitive we had to do, so let's take a week.
sure. But yeah, so if you're all doing some research with Breaker, looking into various things, his library is quite extensive. So basically, each of you that are at Breakers and assisting with the research, if you have something specific that you're interested in or wanting to look into, this would be the time with access to this library to do so.
Well, I mean,
But yeah, go ahead, Jake.
yeah, I think definitely. At first, I was kind of interested maybe in sea creatures that were local to
Sure.
that lake in the area, but now, the fact that he mentioned that his wife's wedding ring was a family heirloom, but it was plain and there was nothing much that he knew about it. I was going to think about using his library to see if I can find more information about that type of thing in his family that maybe he didn't even know about.
Sure. Okay. So what you find is actually, after he describes it for you, and he described it as a simple gold band with a black stone, right? And that he assumed it was given to his family to represent their stewardship over the area. Why don't you go ahead and give me a lore check? And while you're doing that, is there anything Iraniel or Traston or Narniel are interested in looking at or
I want to get
researching?
more information about the ring.
Okay. So would you like to assist Shadon? Or how do you want to do this? Are you looking individually? Guess we could have established that before Jake rolled.
I didn't roll yet, so but I think
Okay.
dividing and conquering may be more useful. Like,
Okay.
I'm assuming the library is. We could probably spend weeks here and never encounter the same, information twice.
Sure.
And I don't know if there's also information in this library of local robbers and stuff like that, maybe, but I don't think so. That would be too local.
Well, I mean, he does have things like local logbooks, property ownership. So imagine his library to be like a place where a lot of local businesses and things like that have asked to store and go over, and so there's like accounts, there's all kinds of stuff on top of older scrolls and books,
Like a
Some
town hall kind of
cheese.
thing.
yeah, kind of, in a way, yeah. Probably roughly equivalent to what would be the town center of Bree, actually, but more for Archit and Staddle and Combi.
Okay, then I'm going to see if I can find anything about grave robbers that have been running about the last few, I believe it was a few months now.
Sure. So are you just focusing on
Well, if I
the idea of grave robbing? So you're looking for like reports?
yeah, because I
Sure.
know a grave robber stole that ring. So if I can find some more that might have been nearby, I might be able to find out their hideout, pinpoint where they are.
Okay.
Use satellites, cross-reference. No.
I mean,
Sure.
I think I would probably go down that same route, but I would go into local pubs or something, taverns.
Well, there is a tavern in Combi, but if the earlier rumors that Treston found are correct, you'd probably be better off going to Archit, which is kind of more situated in the Chetwood, which is where these grave robbers are supposedly working from. So that might require a trip.
Have we got time for that?
Well,
If you wanted to, I mean, it's not super far away. You're probably looking. It's Archit is close enough that it would be a day trip. Yeah. So, like, if you wanted to go to Archit and deal with that, you could leave Shadon, possibly Traston here to engage with Breaker.
Yeah, I think I would like maybe head over. I don't know if Narnia will come with me.
Maybe if just in case, keep Traston and Hampson separate. Go to the cottage and get Hampson too.
I heard that.
I was saying it very quietly.
Yeah, but I have elven ears. You know how good our elven ears work.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, are you opposed to the idea?
No.
I'm just doing you a favor, man. I'm doing you an elven solid.
An elven solid. Okay, that's a thing now. Sure.
Yep, that's canon now.
Yeah, it's solid.
I have a
We
12
even have a
dollar.
secret handshake.
What did Breaker say? What he'd done with the information about the lake of Numenon? No, Numenon.
Numinous. So it's Lake Evandim, and your people kind of live around the ruins of Anuminus. It is a ruined city, but you all live in camps kind of in the area and sometimes within the ruins. Kind of an important city to your history.
So you got information from Shadon?
He did, that nobody has asked him about. So, I mean, yeah, you could talk about that as well.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to basically find out more about, because we've kind of gathered that other rangers have come to him for information. Now he's got more information, just to see if he knows anything.
Yeah. So if you are going to take, I mean, Breaker is more than, you're a ranger, so Breaker is more than happy to allow you to, peruse the scroll, as it were, to look over it. And if you want to look over that while Araniel goes to get Hampson, if you're still planning on going with Araniel to Archit, that's fine. First. So if you take a moment to sit down with the scroll, it's old. According to the writings, it seems to date back to early in the Second Age, possibly even late First Age. So this is thousands of years ago. And it discusses some occurrences that happened during the War of the Silmarils, which is something you, as a Dunedain, have only passing familiarity with, but it was an ancient war between the elves and the Numenorians, your ancestors, and another dark power, right? And so it kind of discusses that and discusses how to hamper or hinder the advancement of the Numenorians. This dark power summoned a dark thing that it unleashed into Lake Evandem. In doing so, creating a storm, and many lives of Numenorians were lost on that front. So it's just kind of a retelling of that incident, and it describes a beast of impressive size. It's difficult to say from the description of it because it's not like anybody pulled out a tape measure to, get accurate measurements, but it was large enough to sink several Numenorian vessels. There's description of tentacles and people being pulled beneath the waves. It's a pretty horrible tale, actually. It's not anything you've ever heard of. This is news to you, but if such a thing existed in those waters, that certainly could mean trouble for the party that was sent into the mists.
Yeah, because we don't, as a community, as a culture, we don't normally go, do we?
You hadn't. It had, as I said last time, the current essentially leader or your people would more refer to them as like the war leader, essentially, right? Because you don't have a town, you don't have a city, you all live in camps, you kind of blend in where you can, but you don't have a homeland, as it were, besides the ruins of Numenor and a few other places. But Lady Gilrayan, who's currently, largely in a position of not rulership, but I guess guidance of your people, she had for a long time not allowed people to explore the lake. Maybe she knew your thinking after reading the story. Maybe she's seen this scroll or heard this story before.
Yeah.
But from the rumors you heard, it seems like she was essentially just worn down, and a group of your people just kept kind of pestering her until she's just let them go and hoping for the best. So yeah, for a long time, it's your people weren't even like making boats, but I would say that the two of you probably do recall seeing a group of rangers working on a longship when you left to go on your own journey, which you might have thought strange because you're like, well, Gilrayan doesn't let anybody go into the lake, so what are they doing? But apparently they finally talked her into it.
Because the mist, is it just like on the lake? It's not so you can like go around?
I mean, it certainly does expand onto land occasionally, but it is particularly dense on the lake to the point where you don't even know if there's islands there. I mean, people think that there are, and there seem to be stories of such, but on the clearest day, the depths, the center of the lake are still quite obscured.
Okay.
And so, and you have to keep in mind, Lake Evandem is quite large. It might as well be an inland sea, essentially.
Okay.
So that's what you get from reading that scroll. And if you have other questions, I can jump back to that. As far as Traston doing research on grave robbing, I would say that you do find some reports, dispatches to and from Archit about the suspected banditry and grave robbing in the area. There, you see a couple of indications that people, particularly in Archit, but also in Combi and Staddle, have been encouraged to do essentially a I forget the terminology off the top of my head, but basically, like, they are encouraged to sit and do like a grave watch for a period of time, to where it's now relatively common that members of a family will take shifts watching the graves of their family after they're interred, to make sure that, you know, somebody doesn't come along and rob them. And in fact, a lot of people are now being interred without anything, essentially, in relatively cheap clothing with nothing of value, for fear that grave robbers would defile them. So yeah, there does seem to be strong indication that there's something going on with a group in the Chetwood. And you also see that there's interest from the Bree Wardens, and you even see Breaker's name. You see another person's name who is mentioned as someone who is interested in finding out what's going on. Their name is Fitch Talltree, who is the lead hunter of Archit, essentially. He's kind of like their mayor. So, yeah, maybe he's a person to talk to, or maybe just going to Archit to check things out. Shadon, as far as finding out more about the rings, so you do find a couple of instances of more archaic Quenya that seems to give a little bit more information about this ring. It does seem in your research that the ring was, as Breaker said, given to his family as kind of a symbol of stewardship. It's described in a little bit more detail. It's a gold ring with not just a black stone set in gold, but actually it's described as having a black stone, natural black stone, not faceted, not smoothed. It is a natural black stone that is seated in, like, it's described as a cradle of white gold brambles that are intricately carven, and this black stone kind of sits among it. If you take that description to Breaker, he's like, oh my gosh, yes, I haven't seen described such in so long, and I've not worn it, you know, and I buried it with my wife. But yeah, that's exactly it.
It's almost like an egg in a nest.
You wouldn't be far off with that description, no. Yeah.
And I think that kind of, once I find that out, and you know, what struck me when he mentioned that it was given to his family in stewardship, would be maybe to find the source of it and to find out if other rings were given to other families in stewardship over other areas.
Sure.
And then if there was any information about those other rings with those other families that, you know, that might, so I would kind of broaden the scope if possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, you do find some mention of a few other ones. This one, you find that it was crafted by an apprentice of Celebrimbor, who you know as a great elven smith. Mm-hmm. And in fact, as an elf of Rivendell, and at your age, you probably also know that Celebrimbor himself crafted the 3 elven rings that most people don't talk about. You know, it's not common knowledge, for example. You would know about it. I don't know that Traston would, even, because I don't know that Thranduil was, in the Wood Elves were necessarily informed of such things, because that was more an act of the Elves of Linden, which is in Eridor, the area that you're currently in. So you do see indications that there were more rings of the type made. You don't really find more specific descriptions. But yeah, it seems like this was a relatively common practice in the mid to late Second Age.
Okay.
It does indicate that this particular apprentice of Celebrimbor was Numenorian, so they would not be around. But if you were to find more information, you might need to take a trip to some of the libraries of Linden. Of course, a lot of those are lost, so you might have to try to find the location of them first.
Right. Okay.
All right, who am I missing? Oh, Ange, you were going to Archit with Hamson.
I was, yes.
If Hamson wants to go.
She's convinced me. I'm halfway through cooking dinner.
I'm going to go and see him.
Okay.
I need a pinch of salt.
Handsome.
Hello.
I've got a mission for you.
A mission?
Yes. You want to become an adventurer?
I do, but I don't want that elf to stick another dagger in my belly.
That won't happen.
It's not. I'm going to have to deal with him like I dealt with the spiders. You know that I am capable.
Yes, I know.
I will skewer him with my sword.
Okay.
Chop his ears off.
Oh, wow.
I think he's evil, you know. Do you think that ghost got to him?
Well,
I mean, I've never known an evil elf before, but now we have two elves. One's good, one's evil. It's like Rangers of the North being in the north, not in the north, but in the east or in the south, or in the west. Or right here.
okay.
Anyway, you have a mission.
Yes.
A secret mission.
Well, it's not. Well, yes. Now, this is going to be a really, really, really hard one for you. We are going to go to a town and we're going to put our ears to the ground. Not literally. But
Not literally.
No, we're not walking with our heads on the floor. But we're going to go.
Why would you say ears to the ground?
It's a saying. It means we're going to be.
Is it a saying from the north?
Yes, we're going to listen out. We're going to get some information of some locals. But this is the hard thing. We have to do it subtly.
So I have to do it how?
Subtly.
We don't just ask them.
No.
So if we don't ask them, how are we going to find out?
Well, you ask questions around and you sort of like generally...
I've got another saying for you. Isn't that beating around the bush?
Yes, well, the thing is, if we try to find these grave robbers that have stolen the stuff which have upset the ghost of Beaker's wife. Beaker's wife. So...
Sure not Traston's not a grave robber.
No.
For all we know, he could have stolen that ring while we were down there heroically fighting the spiders off. As he was hiding like a... Well...
I don't think so, but we need to find it.
How do you know?
Otherwise...
Should we ask him? Or is that me beating around the bush?
There are known grave robbers around, and they seem to be in league with those terrible spiders. And I think those spiders will be back. I don't think that those were the few that were
I'm not going to cook him anything again, you know. No. Doesn't deserve it. I've got some fantastic roast quail for us.
Right, well, put it on hold.
Oh.
Pop it on the chiller. We're going to go and try and find out. Now, if you blow this and let them know that we're asking questions, those grave robbers could go and leave the area, and we will never retrieve that ring, and that poor soul will always roam the earth.
What happens if they try and kill us? Do we get to kill them?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I'll protect you. I killed those spiders, yes.
I know.
I did. I leapt through your legs and slid through. And stabbed them in the belly.
Amazing thing I've ever seen, but this time...
Almost as good as your bum sack hit. I like it when you said that. That was funny.
We have to be subtle.
Subtle.
You do subtle.
I know exactly what you mean.
Don't walk into the bar and announce you've arrived. We need to sort of go in.
Oh, you have to announce your arrival.
No, you do not.
It's very
No, you
impolite. That's like being a thief. I am Hampson Cotton. I am a chef of renown, an adventurer, an explorer.
You won't be an adventurer if you die because you keep opening your mouth too quickly. So we're going to go. This is going to be a real test of your ability.
So the time it takes Ange to talk to Hampson, it may have given you all a chance to do your research if everyone wants to go to Archit. But that's up to you.
I will be accompanying them.
You will? All right.
Even though
You're breaking up for me, Skin.
Yeah, he's froze.
Oh, he'll
Nope,
be back.
there he goes.
Sorry, guys. Let's.
I scared him off
There you
because I
go.
was going to skin him and pull his ears off.
Oh, Tony, you're amazing.
again, my Discord just updated.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
It does that sometimes.
That's
Sure,
fine.
sure.
You look a lot better now too.
The camera's off.
There you go.
There
So,
he is.
Andrew, you and Hampson heading back to Breakers to pick up Narniel?
We've made the decision to go. What we'll do is we will head back to inform everybody that we're going, and that if anybody would like to join us.
Okay.
I think the good elf would like to join you.
So we'll head
Evil
back.
elf can stay here.
We are heading over to is it Anson?
Archit.
Archer. I was going to say Anson with handsome.
Archit, that's by the
So,
Chetwood.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
We're heading over
Chetwood,
there.
as a matter of fact.
We'd like to find out a little bit, see if we can find any information on the grave robbers, because I am quite troubled by the fact that your dear wife is tortured and not resting in peace right now. And I would do anything to get this ring back to help you rest and her rest with the knowledge, that she is where she should be and at peace. And
So-
I can't move on until we do this. So I feel that the only way that we can do this is to investigate these grave robbers and maybe find them and maybe find where they sold the ring on or anything like that. So Hanson is going to do. Okay, Mark is being a bugger. Mark is Hanson has agreed to be really subtle, and this is going to be a test of his adventuring skill.
Okay. So, it sounded like you were having this conversation partially with Breaker as well, because you mentioned putting his wife to rest. So he, upon hearing this, looks relieved. And he also says, yes, I'd been getting reports of something going on in the Chetwood. I think Master Elf Traston has kind of hunted down some of those reports and found the same thing. I'd put them aside, not thinking more of them. I mean,
He didn't find them, though, did he?
What's that?
He didn't find them, though, did he? Not a very good hunter.
Well, no one has been after them, actually. I would imagine the five of you will be able to find them if you choose
We'll
to.
find them and we'll do what needs to be done.
I will caution you. You do know, of course, that the Chetwood is plagued, I think is the appropriate word, with
By
spiders.
Oh, well, Trust will have to stay here then.
But I've also heard word from Fitch Taltree that there have been other things moving about under the eaves of the Chetwood as well.
Trolls?
Other things?
Trolls?
Possibly trolls, possibly goblins.
We wanted to see a troll, didn't we?
There are, of course, wolves, and where there are wolves, sometimes there are also wargs. Just be careful.
Wolves and wargs we can handle.
We can handle spiders too.
If
some of
the
us can.
grave robbers can handle them, certainly we can.
Indeed, yes. And if not, we'll have a nice breakfast as we're going.
So I did want to say before you left that, Jake, you also found that the ring that was given to Breaker's wife, Esmeralda is her name actually, it was given a name in the scant documentation that you found. In Quenya, it is, and I think I will post this in chat so that everyone can see it on the table. Kind of small on my screen, but that's what it is in Quenya. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. But it's also known as, in Westron, Dark Heart.
Oh.
Okay.
Sounds a bit sus.
Well, it's a black stone.
Well, that's it. And I was wondering about the symbolism of having a black stone. But now that I have a name, I actually have something more to research.
Right.
But I think that would be in other libraries.
And
Yeah,
why
most likely.
Why do I feel out of character that this is a seer stone?
So it wouldn't be set in a ring. You know, if you're thinking of a palantir, those are quite large.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a small enough stone to be set in a ring. It's not described, and Breaker doesn't say that it's overly large. I mean, it's an intricately made ring with this stone being nested, you know, in these brambles of white gold on a gold band. But it's not like, you know, I don't know if putting it in carats would help you at all, but it's not like probably even more than 1 carat. It's not a very large stone.
I don't think it's the size. I think it's the shape and symbolism of it, and the fact that it hasn't been worked on. It was just kind of raw, set in the way it was.
Sure.
I'm wondering if I did see an image of it, if the shape of it might have resembled more of a spider with its large bum sack on the end of it.
So there is a sketch in some of the documents that you found, and no, I didn't sketch it out for you, but it doesn't look like a spider sack. It looks, it just kind of looks like an unworked, roughly spherical or elliptical stone, right? Like a half smooth river stone, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are we heading out then?
Yeah. I'll just say this to everyone, just as kind of a reminder that just remember that with Breaker telling us that there are reports of other things moving in the forest, that last spider said that she was coming, so there may be something greater in there than just little things wandering around.
We'll go armed. But if they can speak, we may be able to negotiate with them.
Well, we
Still
have Hampson and Traston, and we have Rangers of the North, so I am not concerned at all about our little adventures out there.
Certainly. Right. We shall armor up and then we shall go. Justin, are you going to be okay to come with us? Justin?
Of course he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
He's going to enjoy the time spent out. You know, I think we need a little bit of time outside the city and traveling, and I think he'll enjoy it.
Well, that's fine.
I'm gonna join. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. So we'll head out then.
So it does take you a little while to get the rest of your supplies in order, because I was kind of misinterpreting it when I said it's more of a day trip. It's more of a 2-day trip. It's almost a full day's travel. Not a full day, but a full day's travel. So like 8 hours or so on foot between Combi and Archet. So it will take some time. But you should be able to, given that this is relatively early in the morning as you all approached Breaker on the 17th in the morning, after you'd had some time to rest, you should be able to get there in the evening of the 17th and set up some lodging. In fact, Breaker tells you to go to the... Let's see, do I have an inn there yet? Let's check. May already be an inn in Archet. No. Okay, so Breaker tells you to actually talk to Fitch Taltry and tell him that you're on business for Breaker, and Fitch will be able to sort you with a place to sleep. Might not be as nice as the cottage you have here, but you should at least be able to find some comfort.
Okay. What was it called again?
Fitch.
Fitch.
Fitch. Okay. So we'll So are we going the next morning, or is it? What time is it?
Oh no, it's roughly morning now, so you can leave now and get there by evening. Yeah.
Cool.
So, you are traveling kind of... Well, it's up to you. Do you want to kind of strike out right through the forest, or do you want to kind of hug the Bree Hill, as it were? It's more of a mountain, really, but you'd be on the back side of it, but you don't quite have to get deep into the woods.
I do feel at home in the woods, but...
You do. It's true.
I think probably coasting it would be better than going straight through until we learn if it's known what more is in there, I guess. Maybe.
You'd also be in the open. It'd be easier to keep an eye out and see things coming from a distance.
Yeah.
It just might be a little... Sorry, go ahead, Scoot.
Right?
You'd still be near. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of going through the trees, branch by branch, jumping. As wood elves do.
Okay.
I was thinking about Tarzan, but yeah.
No, that would be brachiating rather than jumping.
I'm quite
such
impressed.
a great word. So yeah, I mean, if you wanted to hug the edge of the tree line while the rest of them kind of travel in the open, there's nothing wrong with that. You can all certainly stay within visual range, if not earshot of each other.
That's
And it's safer that way. We all know spiders don't hide in trees. They are always out in the open. So, the trees are...
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, maybe Traston just needs to feel the trees for a bit, right? Maybe he's just...
On that spiders in the elephant place?
Where he lives, yes.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. Watch out for spiders in trees, then.
Okay, so who's leading? I mean, there's a bit of a track, so you're not going to get lost, but who wants to make the appropriate role?
I can lead.
Yeah, go on then.
All right, so I'm going to need somebody to make a travel roll. Whoever wants to lead, Narniel, that's fine. And I need a scout, a lookout, and hunters, even though you're not going far, just in case something happens.
I'll hunt.
And I'll look out.
So just so this might help you make decisions, scouts tend to use explore, lookouts tend to use awareness, and hunters tend to use, surprisingly, hunting.
Yeah.
I'll do the awareness one, and I've got good awareness skills.
Okay.
Let's see. What did scouts use?
Explore.
Explore.
If you wanted to take lookout, I think that's scan. Then,
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll do that one.
Lookout is awareness.
Don't I get any books?
Sorry. What was it? Guarding? Or
I
something?
mean, you've got that one talent for Traston now about being in the trees, right?
Yeah. Well, that's mostly for combat. All my attacks are what's it called? All my I'm inspired in all my combat roles.
Oh, it's just combat rolls? Gotcha. Okay. And don't forget, too, that you've got the talent. If you wanted to, you could spend hope to make your travel roll a magical success. Keep that in mind. If you wanted to, you don't have to.
Just for traveling, I'm not going to use a hope skill.
Okay. If you were traveling farther, just so you know, if you were traveling farther, it's not the worst idea, because the better you roll, the shorter your journey is, but this journey is already relatively short. Okay, so...
So I need to do the travel skill for being up
Hang
front?
on, Ange.
Sorry.
Oh, Narniel's traveling, that's right. So, yeah, make a travel roll for the skill.
It's going to be a
failure.
long day. His legs are so short, it's taking his hours.
All right.
Excuse me, I'm on Daisy. Don't blame me.
So, I need somebody to roll a d6. Let's have Narniel do it, since you made the failed travel roll.
Okay, a d6.
5. All right. So that is going to... Who's hunting again? Is it Traston?
No, Iraniel.
Me, I failed.
Oh, okay. So this is how this is going to go. We're not going to do a full encounter on it, but I do like how this system works. So with a failed hunting roll, you're going to need to make a... Oh, okay, you did. So the feat die is a 1, which isn't great.
You're looking at the hunting.
Okay.
Because with the hunting, it's the feat die is a 9. With Iraniel.
Oh, was I looking at the wrong one? My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Iraniel
Okay.
rolled first.
Okay, so I need... Let's see... Nope, that's that. Yep, okay. So I need to go check out this list here. Oh, so yeah, I just need Ange. You need to roll a separate feat die for me. So D12. So if you click on the little dice icon on your menu, it should have or not click on it, but if you mouse over it, there should be a pop-up. Just click on a D12. There you go. Okay, so yep. You get a mishap. Ooh. Okay. So everybody is going to get 2 fatigue, except for Ange, you're going to get 1 fatigue. Because as you are trying to hunt, as you guys are traveling, you stumble upon a gully, which you kind of literally stumble into and slide down to the bottom. You're not injured. Yeah, the whole party takes 2 fatigue. It's just how it goes. It's not going to matter because you're going to have rest afterwards.
So I'll put in the little square fatigue 1, yeah?
Yep. You're going to have fatigue 3, Ange. Everybody else has fatigue 2. All right. So if it were to matter, like at the end of a journey, it gets worse. But you guys will have time to rest. So you finally show up in Archit after Iraniel stumbles down into a gully and everybody works to get her out. Other than that, Narniel successfully navigates to Archit with the track. It's it's not a road, but it's not super hard to follow. So you get there, and the first thing you notice is that there's no there, right? Breaker gave you some basic directions and gave you the track. But as you're walking along, and as you get to the part of the Chetwood that Archit should be, you're a little confused until you hear somebody call out from above you. "Ho there, what are you doing?" And if you look up, you see a person with a fully drawn bow aiming down at you from a platform in the trees.
I aim my bow back at him as well.
Is this how you greet travelers?
The Chetwood? Aye, it is.
Is this private property?
This is Archit, Master Elf. What are you doing here?
Do we look dangerous?
Well, one of you is aiming a bow at me.
He's not. He's
Because
going to
you're
lower
aiming a bow
it.
at me.
He stuck a dagger in his own party member, I'll have you know, so don't be
He's
insulted
evil.
by that at
Kill
all.
him.
Tristan,
Oh,
lower
we've-
the weapon.
We have come from Combi.
Oh, aye? On business?
You could say that.
Research.
We're here to see Fitch.
We're after grave robbers.
I kick Hanson.
Oh,
Wonderful.
And I'm aiming my bow at... No.
Nice.
Who sent you to Warden Talltree?
Master Breaker.
Oh, all right then. Well, another 20, 30 yards in, we'll drop a ladder.
You live in the trees?
Oh, in the trees. A tree city. Oh. Marvelous.
Nowadays, we do, yeah.
Is that because of the grave robbers?
Hanson, really, shut up. What words of subtle don't you know? Are you trying to get us killed?
No, of course not.
Are you trying to ruin the plan? Are you trying to... We're here to find the reason you're going to ruin it all. If you don't behave, you're going to stay outside.
Well, he doesn't look like a grave robber to me.
You don't know that, do you? So just
Sorry.
be quiet or you're
Excuse
going
me,
to
sir.
stay outside.
Are you a grave robber?
He has
Emerson,
has lowered his arrow, and he says, "No, Master Hobbit, I'm not a grave robber."
There you go,
But if-
Ariel. He's fine.
Are you fond of
If you
good
find-
food?
I do like good food. Have you got any? I've been
Yeah,
here
I
for
tell you
8
what.
hours.
We'll leave this little chap here with you to feed you what's in his bag while we go and do business in the tree.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Leave us alone here. It'll be marvellous. What could go wrong?
Oh,
I've-
God, I dread to
I haven't got a ladder here. You'd have to climb up on your own.
you could
Well,
get
we
killed.
can walk the 20, 30 yards. What's your name, by the way?
All right. Samson.
Hi,
Samson? Ah,
Oh. I am
You will get on well with
Shaidon.
Hanson.
Shaidan, Master Elf. You're all welcome to Archit as long as you behave yourselves. I'd appreciate, and he looks at Traston, that you keep your weapons stowed once you're up in the trees.
I'm already up in the trees.
While he was aiming
Well, he's
his
still
arrow,
looking at you.
and I was engaging him in conversation, my ulterior motive was to see if I can examine the bow that he was aiming towards
Okay.
us.
I mean, you have elven sight. You can see it quite easily.
Is it Chetwood? Is it a Chetwood bow?
I mean, it looks like a finely made bow. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. Okay, don't know the. Okay, fair enough.
I mean, if you're referring to the bows of Archit, yeah, you would assume from the craftsmanship that this is one of the spoken of bows of Archit. Yes.
Okay.
Does it look elven made?
No, not at all. It looks 100% human made. There's no artistry to it at all. But Traston, you'd be able to see this as well as an archer, and with your elven eyes, it's very, very finely made. It might not be elven make, but it's certainly better than most bows that you've seen, and certainly better than most bows that you've seen men make.
And may I take a closer look at your bow, please?
He was willing to show you the arrow very closely just a moment ago.
Yeah.
He says, well, I suppose. And since you're already in the trees, you can get over to the platform he's on relatively easily.
And I take a look at his bow. Fine craftsmanship.
The pull is a little heavy for you, actually.
Made
He's like
for your measurements and everything?
Oh, that one's made for me.
I would love to meet your bowmaker.
Well,
Fletcher.
You're going to meet him. Warden Talltree. That's who you want to talk to.
Okay.
And you say
Oh, go ahead, Ange.
A little flourish.
you say he's this way, and I point.
Yeah, if you're looking for the warden right about now, he'd probably be out hunting. He'll be back by sunset, by full dark.
And we can. So, go.
You mentioned that you live in the trees now. You didn't always. What was Warden Talltree called prior to you moving into the trees?
Oh well, he was just Fitch. His pa was warden before him.
Okay.
So, for those of you still on the ground,
I walked forward to where they said they were going to drop the ladder. Anyway,
as you walk further in, and as you look around, you can see the ruins of houses. Some are burned, some are just fallen in. One has a tree growing up through the center of the ruin, but it looks like at some time, relatively recently, you would guess within the past 10 years or so, they had more, kind of normal cabins. They were cabins, let's be honest. They were more like kind of log cabin kind of construction. They weren't like full plaster and stone type houses. But yeah, it seems like there was something that happened and moved them up into the trees. And as you travel in, as you get closer to what you would have assumed was the center of the small village, you see a ladder kind of flopping and unrolling downwards from above. And if you look up, it looks to be probably a good, let's say, I'll put it in meters for everybody. Let's say 20 meters up in the trees.
Okay. See, damn.
There are several platforms.
Okay.
I mean, these are great big trees. Think like, I don't know if you guys even have things similar in England, but Jake would know. Think like big old cedars.
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest, just gigantic tall trees. Thick.
Like
some of these trees are... What's that?
Like in Yosemite?
Yeah.
Those giants where the car could drive underneath?
Yeah, there's a few like sequoias, sure. This is an old wood. Not quite a forest because it's not super big, but it is old.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see the forest. There are too many trees in the way.
So yeah, I
Moving
mean,
again,
I
you
don't.
are the evil elf.
I assume that we brought. Oh, geez, was it Rosie? No, it's not Rosie.
Daisy.
Daisy. I'd be riding Daisy, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If so, then I
So-
would also have my horse to contend with.
and your horse. So
So how are
there
we going to get the
doesn't
horses
appear
up?
to be. Yeah, there doesn't appear to be any place for the horses.
Well, no place for the horses.
I mean, you can see what might have once been a stable or a barn, but it's not full anymore, as it were.
Well,
Maybe
mean,
if you tie the horses there and put some branches in front of it, leave them with some food, they'll be safe. And I turned to the gentleman that was helping us. Will they be safe?
Oh, he's still at his post, so he's not allowed to leave his post. But there is somebody relatively nearby who dropped the ladder for you and
I
says,
said to
"Well,
them, and I say, we have some horses with us. If we leave them here, and will they be safe?
well, not if we get raided again tonight."
Who's raiding you?
Seems like anybody who can.
Wow, that's
I'll
terrible.
have to stay with the horses then. I think.
Well, are they okay for now?
For now, there's a cave nearby that we use sometimes for people that have mounts.
So you do not have mounts of your own?
Would we not just then? Why not just bring him to right underneath where the guard post is? Just 30 meters that way. We can ask him while he's on lookout to keep an eye out for the horses as well.
I look up to the sky. How far is it till nighttime?
Oh, not more than 30 minutes.
Oh wow! So we've got to do something quick. But we need to do something quick and make a decision quick. You've only got half an hour. There's not enough time to leave here.
I can stay
caves-
with the horses in the caves.
The cave's a safe place. It's well hidden. I can lead you to it.
That's right.
Please, that would
I
be.
think it's the best move is to put the horses in the cave.
Is it safe to leave them in the cave, or do we need to
says
stay
it
with
is.
them?
He might know. He knows the area.
Well, it's a shallow cave, doesn't have any other exits, so we've had people leave their mounts there overnight before, left food for them, hadn't been an issue.
I'll hobble him, and if necessary, I could stay to watch the horses.
Well, we've
Maybe
got
you put some of these branches, and I'll help get some loose branches to put across the cave entrance.
we've got the system put in place. A traveling dwarf passing through helped us set it up. There's a boulder that moves in front, closes it off.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Ah.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right.
Oh, so I'll help with that.
Well, thank you.
You just won't be able to get to them quickly if you need them, is all.
That's fine, as long as they're safe.
Yep, I think there's still probably some hay in there from the last visitors we had, so you may not need to set them up with any food, but I'll take you there, whoever wants to go. Name's Jim.
Thank you,
Jim.
Jim.
I'd love it if you told me a little bit of the history of this place while we're going. Point out some of the stuff. Tell us what happened.
Oh, well, suppose I could do that. So, is anybody not going?
I'll
I
probably
don't
stay.
have mount.
Yeah, right, you don't have them out. So is it just Shadon?
I'm going. I'll go.
Daisy as well. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe if we do that, and then before we go up into the trees, we should have a quick break.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. All right,
Yeah.
so very quickly, I'll give you just kind of an overview of what Jim tells you on the way there. So Archit was largely just a hunting community. They do a little bit of foresting. But they haven't, unfortunately, been able to do so for a few years because of nearly constant attacks of things from the forest. And he mentioned spiders, goblins, bandits. And it's not every night, but it is more often than he'd like, which is why they have sentries set at each corner of town up in the trees. They have managed to get by on subsistence with a little bit of gardening up in the trees, and then also the hunting that they do. Fitch is a very, very good hunter, as are several other members in town. They are able to brew a pretty decent lager up in the trees with some of the gardening that they do. And they do have a small inn where it's more of a town hall where they all just kind of hang out every night. And yeah, is there any questions you have for him before?
Why don't you move away?
It's our home.
Or call for help.
We have been.
And no one's responded.
I mean, we get some Bree Wardens come down, but all they say is, move. We don't want to move.
Well, to be honest, I like it better this way.
I can see why you might, Master Elf.
Yes, but this should be a choice, not a forced decision.
Well, I think even if things settled down now, we'd probably stay up here. We've done a lot of work putting all this together. We might get the mill back open for sure. Maybe get some wood heading out to Kami and Saddle again, but I doubt we'd repopulate the surface, as it were. We'd probably just stay up here and keep expanding.
No. What a shame. Okay. We'll head back, follow him then, and then. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
Right. All right. So you all were putting away Daisy and Seuss. I remembered. With Jim. And so he was telling you a little bit about, the town. And what he didn't kind of get into was like what happened to initially make them move up into the trees. I mean, he mentioned the raids, but he hasn't really gone into a lot of detail. When you get to the cave, I don't know, if you wanted to spot the mechanism, you'd probably have to make an awareness check to see what he does. But he very quickly hits a couple of, they just look like rocks or protrusions on what looks to be a relatively solid cliff face. And this boulder kind of shifts to the side just enough for you to lead the animals inside.
Did I see the mechanism with that roll?
Wow.
You did. You not only did you see the mechanism, you could probably guess how it works.
Excellent. It's always good to know.
Yeah. You're imagining, because you can hear water nearby, so you're imagining there's probably some kind of like water displacement using a nearby stream. Dwarves are terribly clever with that kind of thing. So what's interesting though is you don't really see any indications of dwarven make. So the villagers must have either encouraged the dwarf to not cover it in dwarven runes, because you know how dwarves are. They got to cover everything in runes. Or
they are dead.
or the engineer that came through was intentionally trying to keep it as camouflaged as possible, so that people, because once it's closed again, you can't really see anything. You do notice when you lead your animals inside, I assume that Hamson and Shadon at least take your animals inside and kind of do what you would do to comfort them and let them know, hey, this is a safe place, whatever.
Yeah. Prep some food. brush them down.
There's plenty of food in there, in addition to whatever you might have on Daisy. There's also, although it's fading, because the light is fading, there's also an indication that it looks like there's maybe some kind of light filtering in from above. So maybe there is some kind of a natural chimney or air hole up there. So at least, they're not going to suffocate in here.
I won't be honestly spoiling both horses with lots of extra apples and bits and bobs. Honest, I won't be doing that.
Okay. Yeah, and you definitely notice, Jake, that Seuss is very, very happy whenever it sees Hamson.
Oh, okay.
Much more than Seuss normally is with people that are not you. Whether or not you see how Hamson manages to make that happen, that's up to you and how much you're paying attention to what Hamson does.
Honestly, I'm used to it because I'm generally used to finding that people are a lot happier when Hamson's around. Probably due to his excellent cooking and jovial
his
manner.
Exuberance.
So
yeah,
I think it rubs off on the horses as well.
So yeah, you get the animal set up and you head back. It's not the easiest climb up a kind of a rickety rope ladder, but it's not the worst. All of you are in pretty decent physical condition. The ladder is designed for both big people and hobbits, because there are a few hobbits that live in Archit as well. Not many, but there are a few. And I wonder what Hamson thinks about seeing some hobbits who apparently have housing in the trees as opposed to under the hill, because you can definitely see what would be some hobbit construction. The doors are shorter and round and so forth.
Radicals. Crazy radicals.
So yeah, you get up among the trees and it's actually quite pleasant. From the way that Jim spoke, they've been up here for a bit, so you can see it's difficult to see where they started, but there are definitely there are lanes, there are wide platforms with potted, not potted, that's not the right word, but constructed basins, if you will, that are full of dirt and have growth in them. Most of the greenery that's not the trees themselves that's up here is, and Hamson can certainly see this, and anyone else with an eye for it, it is some kind of edible something. So there's a lot of herbs, there's a lot of smaller plants like carrots and beets here and there. They don't seem to have any place that you can see where they're growing rye or wheat or anything like that. But basically anything that can grow in kind of a pot type situation, they're growing both for consumption, but also for, a sense of attractiveness, as it were, flower-lined streets, but instead of flowers, it's edible plants. And yeah, you're up here, you can see several different buildings. Some are relatively small and just centered around smaller trees. Some are larger, and you can see what is clearly kind of like the town hall with a lot of people entering and exiting. There's a couple of areas that look like they might be smaller rooms rather than entire houses for one person, more like dormitories, as it were. But even that said, I mean, this looks to be a relatively small village. There's probably not more than you would guess from the construction, maybe 150 people that live here.
Oh.
Okay.
Really sad.
Yeah.
Is it children there and stuff?
Yeah, there are a few children.
Wow.
So I mean, there's some families up here.
So
And
I want to cancel everything now, and we're not going to any other adventures. Forget the ring. Now I've got to save these people. Can you just stop putting us in these situations? Because every time we go somewhere, I want to save the woman and find the ring, save the woman, and now I'm way and I want to save this village.
What's to save? This village is great.
Well, they keep getting attacked. I don't want them to be attacked every night.
Well, it might be there's something to do with the grave robbers as well, so we might be able to fix all that situation in one go. You never know. They're doing what they can to survive.
Don't mention the grave robbers. You'll get in trouble.
you do see a few heads turn at that conversation, particularly at Hampson being overly shushing.
Hampson, 2 words: shut up.
Oh, you're going to do what? What are you going to do? You're going to stick your dagger near me again? Oh, takes a big man to do that.
Handsome.
He's got shadow around him. He's evil.
I don't need to give you a push.
I don't think he has shadow around him. I think...
Really? He's evil. You're a nice elf. He's not. He's probably working for the grave robbers.
No. That does not make sense at all. I think, some people have just led different lives that lead them to make different decisions and have different temperaments. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a place for everybody around this campfire.
And sometimes people act a little bit out of character when they are in a situation of fear. Or
do you know what it is? I know what it is. It's the lambus bread.
Of course it is. So,
you.
For your information,
I wonder. Oh,
I'm
go ahead.
out of lambus bread. So it can't be that.
Maybe that's why you're not feeling yourself. Shall we give Hampson the recipe so that he could make you some himself?
Oh, that'd be interesting. A hobbit making lembas bread.
I don't want him to butcher it.
So,
it's only meat that you butcher. You don't butcher vegetables.
Traston probably feels relatively at home here, although the elves of Mirkwood tend to live, interestingly enough, underground, as opposed to in the trees that the elves of Lorien do. That being said, you're still in the forest, which is nice. You do notice that this is all human and hobbit construction, so while it is well constructed and while the trees are living, there's definitely indications that they're nailing into tree trunks and they're doing what they can. It's not like Galadriel and her people that are able to grow essentially constructions out of the trees. I mean, that's deep elven magic that they wouldn't have access to, but it might bring you some comfort to see that the trees are in fact still hardy. And in fact, you get the sense that the trees are welcoming of the people here, maybe recognizing them as a source of good in the wood, as it were. As it continues to darken, you see quite a few people, not everyone. Some people seem to be just kind of sitting on their front stoops, as it were, having a pipe or, eating a early dinner. But a lot of people are heading into what would be the kind of central longhouse building. You would guess with a community so small, there's probably some kind of community meal that occurs or is available to people who don't want to prepare their own food. The elves definitely can smell that there are a few racks of meat hanging somewhere relatively nearby. So it smells like they've definitely got enough food for everyone. And you do note that although you do see people smoking, which is a popular pastime in Middle Earth with their pipes, they are being very conscientious of using metal receptacles for their ash and tamping things out to make sure that they don't endanger the whole place, as it were. And anyone can smell. There's definitely kind of a piney scent in the air, just kind of everywhere, and you're getting the sense that they're probably using a lot of pine sap to seal the wood, as it were, to protect it from fire.
So it smells like a 1970s auto.
It really kind of does. Yeah.
It's all very sad.
They're making the
They seem
best
quite
of the
happy.
situation.
Yeah.
I admire the tenacity of these people, and this is a decent lifestyle. I just wish it was a choice.
Yes.
So in
Definitely.
a way, it is a choice because they've chosen to stay here.
It's not an easy choice to leave your home. For anyone.
Did they leave their home?
Well, evidenced by
You could say they rose above it.
I would almost say they just elevated their homes.
You're missing
you-
the point. The fact is they're being attacked on a regular basis, and anyone that lives under that threat continuously has our sympathy. Whether
Yeah,
you live
I
in-
mean,
I wouldn't want that to happen to anyone.
the Rangers definitely face pretty regular attacks at their camps, which is why they tend to move quite a bit. There's a reason why Bree itself has a great wall and ditch surrounding it. I mean, no place is really safe in the Third Age. I mean, from a non-game standpoint, just stepping outside of that for a minute, I don't know that a lot of people recognize that in Middle Earth, it really is kind of like that points of light type feel, where there's a lot of ragged and dangerous wilderness and these points of human and other habitation just kind of dotted here and there, surviving. So, I mean, the plight of the people of Archit, and I'm not trying to cheapen your feeling for it, and I respect it, and it's great, but it's not like they're not the only ones. Now, in the area, they may seem the most beleaguered, right? The people of Combi don't seem to be fighting off raids on a nightly basis. So maybe this is a more recent thing. It's difficult to say. But as you are kind of taking in the main city of Archit, once you've reached kind of the center and are standing behind the town hall, you hear a couple of sharp calls that they seem like they might be animal, but also you get the sense that somebody is making them. And then you notice kind of off to the side a trap door kind of opens and a rope is sent down. There's a pulley system, and you see several men that are kind of winched up, and essentially you get several carcasses that are being pulled up from below. And then nearby, not at the same ladder that you all came up, but at a different ladder, you see several woodmen carrying bows stepping up onto the platform.
Oh, greetings.
It's quite an impressive catch.
Yes.
Well, the tallest one says, well, we've been working all day, so
It's
gotta
what good
keep the water
hunters.
stocked.
It's what good hunters can do. Catch food.
Is the arrow still inside the creature or inside the...
Oh no, the arrows have all been pulled.
Because I hoping to be able to see where they hit the animal, if it was a good hunt or not.
I mean, as you look at them while they're pulling them up, I mean, it's pretty easy to see that, like, yeah, these are all heart shots.
So no signs of traps. They don't set traps. They actually hunt.
Yeah, no, these are all hunters, and you can see each one is carrying a bow of similar make to the one that your friend Samson, the guard, was using. And the tallest one looks down at Hampson as he mentions, "This is what good hunters are like." And so I don't know how Hampson is going to respond to this, but I'm going to do it anyway. He kind of looks down and he's like, "That's right, young one," and pats him on the head.
Well, that's
maybe not recognizing that you're a hobbit yet.
Well, he's not a young one, but I will say that you do your bows justice.
I am young, thank you.
Well, yeah.
I'm not old, like anyone else that might be here that's old.
I feel
So once you talk again, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Master Hobbit. I thought you were a child."
It's my slim physique, my adventuring this physique, my spider slaying physique, where I stabbed it and stabbed it and stabbed it.
He cocks his head at that. He's like, "Spider slaying? Really?"
Yes.
Looks at all of you again. He's like,
Well, not all of us slayed spiders.
"From around here."
Oh no, we were up in Combi.
Oh,
Yes. Some evil spiders were there.
in Combi.
Well, outside of Combi. Wouldn't be in Combi. It'd be very good, very bad to be in Combi. That'd be like a panic. It'd be like spiders everywhere. It'd be, screams, children running everywhere. Now, there's only so much we can do.
Perhaps we should all
Yes.
have a conversation.
Let us introduce ourselves.
That's right, because we're looking for grave robbers. We've had some grave robbers who've been
And I
stealing
put my
from
hand
graves.
over his mouth and shove him out of the way. Please.
Looking for Fitch first.
So he looks up towards. Oh, so on hearing his name, he looks over at Narniel. He's like, "I'm Fitch."
I'm Iraniel. Could we take a moment of your time? Breaker. Sentence.
Oh, old man Breaker, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I've been hunting all day. I'm a little hungry. You all wouldn't mind sitting down to a meal with me? We could have a conversation.
Thank you for your kind invitation.
That would be lovely. Thank you very much.
I can talk now, thank you. Oh, yeah.
I am Daniel, by the way.
Narniel, nice to meet you.
Hampson Cotton, at your service.
Yeah.
Master Chef and Spider Slayer.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to make use of that.
Oh, yes.
The name's Tristan. And I gotta say, if you are the one that makes the bows, that's some pretty good craftsmanship.
Oh, it's just something I do in my spare time. Me or one of my apprentices.
Trained with an elf to do this?
Oh, well, I'm sure your kind can make finer bows than I can make, Master Elf.
Oh. And take out my own bow. Could say that.
I'm going to misdirect and go, but the results of your bows speak for themselves.
Oh, that's not the bows, Master Elf. That's just practice. That's what that is.
No, that is your hunters doing your bows justice.
Well, each one is made specifically for them, so there's a lot you have to take into consideration. Height, strength.
True.
And yeah, you can see that every bow is slightly different, right? Some are longer than others, some are shorter, some are thicker around the neck, some are not quite so thick. They're all strung relatively the same, though.
I would be proud to carry such a bow.
We don't hand these out.
Oh,
Master
it was
Elf.
meant as a compliment, meaning I have an elven bow. But
all right. Well, at any rate, if you'll excuse me, I want to get cleaned up a little bit. He is kind of bloody, so he's been butchering these carcasses before they haul them up. But if you give me a moment, you head into the main hall. You can sit at the table at the front. That's mine. And he turns and looks at some of his companions. He's like, "Boys, you'll have to find another seat tonight. I want to talk to these people." So yeah, just go to the head table and have a seat. You'll have some food or drink brought out to you. I'll be with you directly.
Thank you.
So
I'll drag Hanson's hand and drag him through with me.
So he heads off to one of the larger buildings. You assume that's his, and if any of you kind of look after him as you head into the main hall, you can see a woman and a young boy rush out and hug him as he goes into his house. And yeah, they don't seem to care that he's covered in guts.
Nice.
So you go back into the main hall. It's well lit. It's pretty airy. The smoke definitely has a place to go out. It's lit by torches, mainly a couple of oil lamps. And it is quite large. Some of the tables are open. Some of them are filling up. It looks like you probably couldn't fit the whole village in here, but the majority of it, if you move the tables out of the way, everybody can certainly fit inside. And you see people sitting individually. You see some families here and there. There are people wandering around with big old buckets of some kind of gruel or stew or something, and they'll ladle it out for people, and then they ladle it out for themselves and sit down after they go put the bucket back on the fire. There is a bar run by a bartender who is giving people pints and other drinking ware as they come up to get various drinks, and the bartender is certainly taking a couple of drinks here and there as well while he's serving people. He also seems like he's got a bowl of something off to the side that he's occasionally taking a couple of bites out of while he's serving drinks.
Get some drinks on our way to the table.
How do they pay for it here? Oh, I'm getting too into details there, aren't I? I was just wondering.
Nobody's paying for anything. You don't see coin anywhere.
Okay, that's cool. Interesting.
Everything's free. Let's make that a real thing in the real world as well.
Excellent. Okay, so we've grabbed some drinks and head to the table.
So as you go up to the bar, the bartender looks at you first. It's like, y'all not from around here.
Greetings. We're guests of Finch.
Are you? So he looks over at someone, and you can see it's one of the hunters who came up with Fitch. And the hunter, it's like, well, all right. We've got lager. We've got a couple of wines we picked up somewhere. We've got water, of course. What are you looking for?
Wine.
All right.
What would wine? Go with it.
Yeah. Don't have any fancy glasses, but he puts down a couple of leather wax tankards on the bar and fills it up with wine for Raniel and whatever else anybody else wants.
Yeah, I'll go with wine.
He just grabs his bottle and pops it, pours it out. It tastes all right. It's not anything amazing.
I think I would like to, if I would have one on me, one of those bottles of wine from that cellar.
Is that what you wanted?
I'd like to
wine on you.
Take it out and give it to the bartender and say, "Thank you for your hospitality. Well, why don't you have this and keep it for a special occasion?"
Oh, well, appreciate that. And yeah, he puts it by the bar. And you also see him when he puts it by the bar. You see him like put a little mark on something.
So
there's probably some kind of barter. Probably some kind of barter system, or like people in town they pull their weight so they get the food and the drink and whatever.
Right.
So.
Well, Shadon and my weight isn't that high, so I mean, what else?
I have to pull a bit more.
Yeah. I thank him and walk over to the table. And I sit. Can we sit in such a position where we can watch a room?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I should do
so
that.
the table is kind of the head table is kind of placed long ways to everything else. So like you could sit on the far side of the head table and be able to look out over the whole hall.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like the head table at a wedding, essentially.
Yeah, cool. That's cool then. Yeah.
And yeah, there's already bowls of fruit. There are berries, nuts. There are a couple of trays of sautéed mushrooms. There is a very large ham that has been sliced on the head table that you can pull from. Plenty of bread.
Wow.
Yeah,
everyone else gets gruel.
Do we have to put a bowl underneath Hampson's mouth, because I think he's drooling?
Now, so the gruel going around, everybody is partaking of, but you also noticed as you came in, possibly before you went to the head table, there were also people going up to the head table and just taking what they wanted.
Oh, okay, that's cool then.
Yeah. So it's like the head table, but also kind of a buffet, as it were.
Mm. Okay, that's cool then. I was not going to be happy about that. So we'll sit down and wait for Fitch to arrive. Hanson, feel free to eat the food and try not to just let us do the talking. 5 minutes.
But he's the leader here.
You're going to get us killed.
Give us 5 minutes before you start talking.
Really? You fear for our lives in this lovely place?
I asked you a simple thing when we came. Not to mention things and to be subtle. And you're subtle as a boar in a boar farm.
Boar? Now, you can make some fantastic meals with boar.
In fact, Hampson is pretty sure that's a boar on the table, not just ham.
If you see, there is a boar there. There's several boars around here, you know.
Give it a brand, the only things with his stomach.
Can you just let us try and speak and find out the lay of the land before you start throwing in the word grave robbers and things like that?
Well, why do you want to know the lay of the land?
And in that moment, you hear behind you, that's the second time you've mentioned grave robbers. What's going on? And yeah, it's Fitch. He's kind of crept up behind you from some rear entrance.
I didn't mention them. I was being subtle and quiet.
Well, you weren't quiet.
So he kind of motions to the table. He's like, "Do you mind if I eat while you talk? I'm famished."
Oh, please join us. Your hospitality is marvelous.
Grabs a few things, and rather than like sit at the table, just kind of holds a plate in one hand and is just kind of leaning against the table where he can kind of look at all of you and is just kind of picking at it. Like, well, what's Breaker got to do with anything?
Right. We came across a situation that was occurring, and we're now curious to know how far this spreads. it did indeed involve some missing jewellery and things and rumours of grave robbers. I mean, we've heard that they were coming from this direction. I mean, whether or not it's the people that are attacking you or not, but I know people do some strange things and some not so pleasant things in order to survive in this world. And we can see that you have a daily onslaught of attacks.
Well, I don't know who told you that. It's not daily. It's probably Samson again. You know, that man. Regardless, yes, occasionally we've dealt with some enemies coming out of the wood.
The attacks are at least often enough that you decided to raise your houses.
Well, after the rest of the town was nearly burned down, we figured might as well do what we can to protect ourselves. It was easier, believe it or not, moving up here than building the wall.
I can see that.
Moving up better.
We already had a lot of platforms in place anyway for sentry duty and things like that. We just extended them.
It is very admirable, and it is a beautiful place that you have built here.
Sadly, we've not been able to grow much since the mill got taken from us, but we do what we can.
So who has been attacking you, and who did take the mill?
Well, no one's been near the mill for months, but the last time we were at the mill, we were run out by, we think, some goblins, but we weren't sure.
You think?
I wasn't on shift at the time. The people who did escape, they were badly injured. They didn't survive, sadly, but they talked about what could only be goblins, right? The savagery. We've not gone back since, so we've seen smoke and fires.
I know it might be hard to hear this, but did one of those got hit by an arrow, and did you maybe still have the arrow?
Well, as a matter of fact, yeah,
I could see if it's goblin made or not.
Yeah, we've kept as many arrows as we can, less we have to make. I'll let you into the armory later. You can take a look around if you like.
I might be able to see if they are goblin made or not.
Okay, I'd appreciate that.
Experience with arrows, you might have seen on my back.
Yes, I noticed. Most of you are carrying bows, which is impressive. You don't see that with most people walking around, at least not in these parts. Although I see a stout spear with our young master hobbit.
The toothpick?
Good for fighting more. Well, blades, of course. Can't go far without blades in this world, right?
No, definitely not. Good for killing spiders with their 8 hairy legs. Slit them and gut them.
We've had a few spiders try and take people away up here. I wouldn't call that a raid, but we've definitely run off some packs of spiders. We have had to deal with a couple of bandits here and there. But yeah, I think Samson was blowing things far out of proportion for you.
We can help you with the bandits. We like helping people.
Well, I mean, you'd have to find them first, Master Hobbit. There's a lot of caves in these woods.
Do you know any good trackers?
Well, I mean, we track buck, we track boar.
You see, we could take one of their trackers and we could go out and find these bandits. Help the village out. Help this community.
I
This is
think
very
you know that
honourable.
we are also able to track.
So, does anybody want to give me an insight roll?
Sure. I believe I'm pretty... Yeah, no, I'm not good at it, but I still want to do it. Damn it. The failure.
Oh,
I take everybody at their word.
Still don't know whether these are grave rovers or not.
Or is it dark by any chance?
I mean, it's dark outside by now. Yeah.
Would you say that if I now use a hope that it will automatically be a success? Because that's my elven feature.
Yeah. I mean, we're
I
inside.
mean, let's see what's called cultural,
we're-
my cultural blessing, Falk of the Dusk.
Yeah, but we're inside. Like, it's not dark in
You are
here.
in a forest or at night.
Oh, or at night. Okay.
You can
Continue.
spend 1 point of hope to achieve a magical success on a skill roll.
If you want to spend hope, yeah, sure, go ahead.
I think I'm gonna spend hope for this. I'm full with hope, so I'm gonna spend a hope.
Okay, so with a magical success, what you're getting is there's a couple of things. First of all, the more you talk to him, the more you notice that he's wearing a jerkin that's kind of laced all the way up the front, and it has kind of a high collar, right? But as he's moved and as you talk to him, you notice that there's a bit of a scar kind of peeking up from under the jerkin. And just from the shape of it, you're really getting the sense that that is like it's some kind of a large bladed weapon, much larger than a goblin would wield, right? I mean, if with a magical success, you're getting this sense that he is hiding something, but not deceitfully. It's almost like he wants to ask you to do something, but he's too embarrassed to ask. And the scar, if you're imagining it, just from the little bit you can see, you're getting the sense that it almost bisects his entire chest. And it would be from a great weapon of some kind. So you're guessing like a troll.
Are you sure you don't know there are any other creatures out there? I mean, that doesn't look like a wound from a goblin.
So he instantly like pulls his jerkin up higher. He's like, seems very just flustered now, and he says, this isn't something in the wood. And he's like, if you'll excuse me, I have to deal with something. And he walks away.
I don't know if it would have been appropriate, but if I could have like done a healing roll to look at that to try to understand the nature of the wound better, if it's something that I've seen before, even with a minus or something, if it's not something I would know, or just forego that.
Well, you have to give me an insight roll first to have noticed anything at all to look at.
You're really going to make me do insight. Okay.
I am.
Yeah.
You asked for it. I had a 1 in 12, I suppose.
You've also got some hope.
Yeah, but if I didn't notice it.
Well, I'm saying you can do like Traston did and use your hope to turn it into a magical success if you wanted to.
I'd rather play the character
don't have to, though.
in the moment.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yep.
Here.
Okay, so he walks away. He's not leaving. Like, he walks over to talk to one of the men that came up from below with him. And as he does that, anybody who's watching him, you also kind of get the sense of somebody coming in behind you, and if you look, it's his, you assume, wife and son who move up to sit at the table.
I use my charm and courtesy to, or maybe my,
Courtesy would be good.
yeah, to sit and chat with them and try and get some, information really about him and about the town and the attacks, really.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my god, my rolls tonight are awful.
Well, but if I'm
Wow.
sitting next to a Renial, I'll likely get up, especially if I'm closer to the head of the table, to cede my space to give them space to be closer to the head. And I'll move down more as a sign of respect and to give space.
So that's cool. Keeping the role in mind, go ahead, talk to him. What do you want to talk about?
How lovely to meet you.
Oh, and you indeed. I'm Lissa. This is Richard.
I've got Iraniel. I forgot who I was then. We're just visiting. We have some business, and it has led us to your town or your village, your hamlet. Quite a sad state of affairs here that you had to move into the trees, leave your town.
Well, we've grown used to it.
How long have you been in the trees?
Oh, since Fitch's dad was taken from us, been about 10 years.
Taken from you?
Oh, yeah. He and his pa were out hunting one day and ran into a troll.
Oh gosh.
Is that the troll that gave him the scar?
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah.
Yes.
He tried to cover it up pretty well, but I got the glimpse.
He's embarrassed by it. He thinks it's a sign of how he's not a good leader, but he's the one who moved us all up here after the troll ran through the town and destroyed most of our buildings. There's a reason why we're up so high.
So, and have you been attacked by trolls since?
Not once. But that old troll, it took his father's glaive. It was a gift that he got once. It was an old weapon made by your folk. She indicates to you, Traston, since you spoke to her. He found it. He wasn't stealing or nothing. He found it in an old tomb north of here. But the troll apparently took it from his paw and dealt him that great wound on his chest.
And you go, okay.
And it just did it come without warning? Just trampled through here?
Well, after we wouldn't have thought it would have followed him back, but it did after it killed his paw. Yeah.
Wow.
And I wouldn't think a troll would give any warnings.
But it left. So did you defeat it?
No, we fled and it left after it couldn't find us in the cave nearby, and he's been wanting to take it on ever since, but I've told him, like, you and your pa couldn't take it. What makes you think you could take it now? And I think maybe I make him feel self-conscious about that, but rather that troll be out there and away from us than lose him too.
We could help him.
Well, I think if you were able to take that old troll, I think he'd be very happy with you. He won't ask you to, though.
No, but
He knows where the
I
troll
know a
is.
troll can be difficult to beat with only 2 people.
He says he's seen it time and again over the past years, but he's never tracked it.
And who else has been attacking you recently?
Oh, well, we have the spiders come through and take a child now and then, or try to. Lately, we've been able to prevent it. Early days, it was more difficult. We lost a few.
That's tragic.
Yeah. Well, what can we do? Make more and grow, you know? We've seen goblin parties go through occasionally. Lately, they've not even been aware we were here. We go into stealth mode, as we call it, and we don't make any noise. And we turn off all the lights, cover them, close the doors, black out the windows. Occasionally, we catch some ne'er-do-well who's trying to get up here and get into our stores. There's men out there who are down on their luck, falling on hard times, and sometimes they do what they can to make ends meet. We've exiled our fair share of the few, so some of that might be our fault.
It's a hard life that you led.
Well, we were already here. What are we going to do? Move to Bree? Move to Combi? We don't have land there. This is ours, at least. Things will be better once we take back the mill. Once we take back the mill and we start production again, things will be better.
Wasn't the troll that took the mill then?
Oh no. The troll. Last my dear said he was up north. The mill got taken by somebody. We don't know who.
And they're still there?
Could it be that the troll lives inside the old elven ruin, and he just wanted the sword back in a way?
Suppose. I don't know the whole story of the history of the glaive.
I am pretty interested in finding that ruin. We might go there and help beat the troll.
Well, we've got no evidence that the troll's there. So I think we will have to speak to...
Maybe again it's just what they think as what happened in Combi.
So Lissa looks at Narniel and says, as far as the mill goes, we see fires out there. Somebody's there. I don't know that they're using it, but they're there.
This is interesting. Well, maybe we might be able to strike a deal. Sorry.
A deal?
Narniel, you were saying?
No, just asking how recent the last fire was. Is it every night?
Oh, well, anytime any of us go by there, we see smoke, we see fire at night. We tend to avoid the area. We've lost a few more people who have been interested and tried to go check it out.
Which is fair. What kind of deal do you mean, Irano?
Well, my instinct is right now that I don't think these good people here are grave robbers. They have no use for that.
Are you talking about this in front of Lissa?
Yeah.
Okay. She's like, no. Why would we rob graves?
This is the thing. The rumors are that...
Were you the one that said to be subtle about this? Because at the moment you are not.
My instinct is that...
I didn't see any of these were ever grave robbers. I just thought the grave robbers were up in this area.
I think that's what we established. And the problem is these are the only established people up here. So, fortunately, the rumours are going to be filtrating through to here.
What
If there are grave robbers about these parts, we don't know about them. Say that.
I'll turn to Hampson and say, where did you hear that they were up here?
Traston did, in Bree.
I heard it in Bree.
So the Bree folk know, but you are unaware? Say that to listen.
Well, I mean, we have people come through here. Well, not recently, not since the loss of control of the mill, but we used to have good business with Bree. I don't know why they would think that we were grave robbers.
No, I don't think they said that you were grave robbers. It's just, grave robbing out in this area.
Yeah, they didn't say specific people, but that they were coming from around here.
We just
may just be that they don't bother us because around these parts we burn our dead.
Yeah, but it might be that they, in a way, using the fact that this little town is being attacked this often to hide their own tracks.
I mean, as I said, we've exiled some folk. I guess it's possible they might have turned to grave robbing.
Interesting. Well, maybe these people that are in the mill, maybe we can chase them out for you, which would give you your mill back. And maybe it would give us a chance to question them about it as well.
Yeah, while we're here, we might as well help.
Well,
Yeah.
I know we'd appreciate it.
Them.
We would love to pay you back for this fine meal and your warm hospitality.
And I believe young Master Hanson still wants to defeat an actual troll.
Well, I've defeated spiders, so a troll's going to be really easy.
Trolls are a lot bigger. And we've not said we're going to look for the troll. We're going to go and investigate.
You wanted to talk to the troll when we were at Crumpton.
If we come across the troll, then we will talk to the troll. And then you will get your desire to attack a troll. But we're going to the mill.
Well, I can point you to the mill. It's not far.
Maybe not go at night. Would we be able to...
Is the mill in the forest?
Oh, just down the way.
These people that took it over, are they keeping the mill active or are they just occupying the mill?
It's hard to say. We see fires. We don't know if they're running it, though.
Hanson, would you like to go and see what's a bit more of adventuring?
I don't mind.
Maybe we...
Whether we go now or in the morning, it's irrelevant to me. I've had some food. My belly is full.
Your belly is never full.
It is, just not for long.
This second, but in 5 seconds, it's not anymore.
I'm sure if it was to bring out you a fine cake, you would still feel...
Well, it would be rude not to enjoy the cake if a cake was brought out. You know, some of us have honor.
As you're having a conversation, Hampson, you feel, I would say little hands, but you're also smallish.
So normal-sized hands.
Yeah, you feel hands about your size kind of like touching your sword hilt.
Oh, no, don't touch that. It's dangerous. Sharp. A fine blade, little one.
And yeah, it's Richard. He's probably, you would guess, I mean, I don't know how well Hampson knows the children of men, but you would guess he's probably 8 or 9. And he's a little bit shorter than you, still, I would imagine.
Hmm?
He says, They let you carry a sword? They won't let me carry one.
Oh, that's because I'm a lot older than you are. I'm just small like you. Means I can sneak into places and sneak out of places.
If he was quiet.
Oh, you're one of the small folk. I thought you were like me.
No. I'm sneaky, small, can get into places, that other people are scared to go.
He says, are those elves?
One's a nice elf, one's a grumpy old elf. The nice one's over there. He's got a nice horse and likes apples. The other one, you want to be careful of him. There's some darkness about him. I don't like him.
And why are those ladies so much bigger and stronger looking than my ma?
They're rangers of the north. They're muscular and strong. Yes.
Are you all gonna find my grandpappy's grave?
We're going to kill the troll. But shh. Don't tell your dad just yet. We want it to be a surprise.
Oh, I shouldn't tell him. I'm not allowed to keep secrets.
Oh, it's just a secret between us. That way, when I come back and we've killed the troll, I'll give you a wink, and then you'll know that your daddy's going to be happy again.
Then I can tell him?
Then you can tell him, yes.
Okay. Are you going to teach me how to fight?
Oh, you best be asking our rangers. They know how to fight. I've killed a couple of spiders, big giant spiders. There was one time that I swung across the floor, swept through a animal's legs, and stabbed it in the belly.
Lissa looks at the conversation that's happening and says, Master Hobbit, is he bothering you?
Not at all. He's delightful.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm sure Fitch will come back soon. I'm sure you just startled him with your question, Master Elf, looking at Traston. By all means, eat, and there are rooms here in the hall I can give each of you for the evening.
Oh, that would be lovely.
I was told that Master Breaker sent you, so although we don't require payment, if anything was needed, we could ask Breaker for it. So
We'll be happy to do anything. I mean, we could help with the cooking and the dishes.
Oh, well, Master Hobbit, I'm sure the people working in the kitchens would appreciate any help with the dishes after the meal tonight.
Well, it's only those people that don't have any pride in things that wouldn't offer to help with the dishes. You can tell a lot of character if they don't help with dishes. Don't you find that?
Well, you may be right. You may be right, Master Hobbit.
Definitely right.
So, anything else? What are we thinking?
I think I would call Fitch over.
Okay. So
Fitch.
yeah, after a while, and once you call on him, Fitch finally comes back over. He says, "Oh, I see you've met my wife and son."
Yes, we've had a lovely chat and learned a little bit more than you were willing to give. And we understand wholeheartedly your embarrassment of things that have occurred in the past.
Kind of narrows his eyes and raises an eyebrow at his wife. He says, "Oh, have you?" And his wife is like, she's shaking her head.
She's a good lady. And I understand that the mill being taken over is causing you a lot of trouble and strife. And maybe the people that have taken over the mill are called the people that we are looking for. I know
suppose
you
it could
heard
be.
the word, our little friend here was not subtle, that we are looking for some grave robbers.
It was you that said grave robbers, not me.
You said it the second we walked into the area.
You said it in here.
No, you said it in here. He heard
No, you
first.
said it first. I said it out there.
You know,
sit in the hall.
we've just enjoyed
Not out
a
there.
lovely dinner, and these are such excellent hosts. Let's.
I know we're going to do the washing up, aren't we, everybody?
Yes,
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 we'll wash it up.
we will definitely do that.
Anyway,
Because anyone that doesn't help with that doesn't have good character.
I will
We have-
personally wash my
Just
weight.
Guilting everybody into washing dishes. It's so funny.
we have a desire to help you, which may help us, and maybe get you your mill back, and maybe we can get some more information about the missing jewelry that we're after.
Well, I just spoke to one of my men. He could take Master Elf here, the Traston, I think I caught your name. He can take you to the armory if you want to take a look through our ammunition to see if you can find those arrows.
Yes, it could help.
As far as the rest of you, I'm sure my wife has offered you a room for the evening.
She has, and their hospitality shows no bounds. Maybe you could give us a little more information, about the mill.
Well, it's a pretty standard sawmill. I mean, it's water powered. There's a water wheel. We did enclose the whole thing, mainly because there's a lot of torrential rains here from time to time, and it's easier to keep the wood dry if we have it all enclosed. So, it's quite a large building, considering the size of the trees that we're working with. There's a significant yard around it that is fenced in, that we work within. It's full workshop. It was one of our best places before it got taken. I can give you a rough layout. I could sketch it down on some.
That would be lovely.
Some paper around here somewhere. Are you going to go investigate?
Yes, I think we should investigate. And it maybe help you, it may help us. And maybe we could do something to get rid of them.
Oh well, I mean, if you could
Politely ask them to
If you
leave.
could retake the mill for us, that would definitely be very helpful to all of us. It would certainly cement your place here for quite some time.
It would vacate the mill. That would be, yes. I mean, we will try the way. We will try to speak to them first. And if all else fails, we have Handsome here with his trusty sword.
Well, I can give you a signal arrow that one of your archers could fire off if you clear the place, and I could have some of my men come back in and retake it.
Splendid idea. Shan't go at night. We should go in the morning.
Oh, very well. That will give my men time to get ready as well.
I think it will be helpful for both of us to see who's in there, and what's lurking around, I guess.
I also lean across to him, and I might do a bit of an insight roll on this one and say, because you don't know anything about grave robbing, do you? Flip.
Well, I won't say that my folk haven't done some delving into some of the old ruins in the wood. I wouldn't consider that grave robbing, personally.
No. Okay, we will go with the idea that it's the people in the mill for now. Have you heard any rumours of any people that have travelled through about any other people?
Well,
Robin or
there are some exiles that live in the wood. I wouldn't be surprised if they've turned to that to turn up some kind of money or things they can barter. Last one we turned out was a Bill Spiney. He was He was a good man, but fell behind on his work. He was injured on a hunt. And then he was found to be taken from the families around him without giving back, so we turned him out. I had hoped, I'd assumed, he'd gone on to Bree or Combi, perhaps, maybe even Staddle. But if he's still out there in the wood, and if there's others like him, I can see them maybe digging into people's graves to take things to get by on. What? Was something in particular stolen?
A ring.
Yes.
From whereabouts?
Past combi.
From a grave.
You might know her. It was Esmeralda's ring. And I'll go in and describe it in great detail because I've done my research.
Oh, gosh. Old Oswald's wife? Wife? I only met her once. I was very young. Well, I was about Richard's age.
Lovely person.
I'll put my ear to the ground. I'll see what I can see. But as I said, my folk don't go out that way. And when we do delve, as I like to say, it's certainly not in any kind of human construction or men, I should say, not human. In any of the graves of men. These are old, ancient ruins. So, should we call it there for today?
Yeah.
Think about heading out to the mill next time?
That's probably
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Sounds good.